Hey guys, for people who've been following my videos, in the part 2 of Git, we looked at how to create a remote repository and the local repository on your laptop. So we used the git init --bear command to initialize a remote repository, or we also call it as origin. And then we created a local repository using the git clone command. Today, we will go a step ahead and look at how do we configure more than one remote repositories in your local working tree. So let's begin. So this is what we're going to look at. We are first going to go and create an origin apple, and then we are going to create an origin orange. We will then create a local repo, which will clone from origin apple to begin with, and then add a remote repository and point it to origin orange. Open up git bash over here. And then we will initialize a new bear repository called origin apple. If I do a listing, you should see origin apple over here, which is a bear repository. I'll use the same command to create origin orange. If you do listing again, you would see origin apple and origin orange. For simplicity purpose, what I will do is I will create a new directory and name it as remote, and create another directory, name it as local. I will move origin apple and origin orange to remote. Cool. So if I do listing of remote, you should see origin apple and origin orange over there. Great. Let's move forward now. What I will do is I will get inside origin local and I will clone the repository from origin apple. And we saw if we press enter, earlier we were not able to create origin apple because there was a folder which already exists. But since we are inside local now, we should be able to go ahead and create this folder. Now we have origin apple inside local. And as we saw, there will be a .git folder by default over here. I can go ahead and commit something. So I can say echo hello world, route it to .txt. Now if I say git status, it should show me that there's an untracked file, and it does. I can do a git add dot to add everything at this directory and the subdirectories. So if I say git status, it should tell me it is staged days. Then do a git commit -m. Cool. This is what we saw yesterday, right? What's so special here? It's nothing special here from what we did yesterday, but there's something special now, so pay attention. If I have to see which remote am I pointing to, okay, so for the sake of that, let me go ahead and open this up and just making sure pushed the changes. So let's do a git push. Now it is pushed, and I go back to the origin remote origin apple and do a git log. You see that whatever commit has been done shows up over here, but when you do a ls lrt, you do not see the working tree because this is not meant to show you your working tree. This is a remote or the origin repository. Let's move back over here. If you want to see where, because you have two remotes now, one is origin apple, the other one is origin orange. I want to check this local origin apple I mean, the name really indicates that it's derived from origin apple, but if at all the name was not this, was something else, how would you know where it is pointing to? The command to see which remote you're pointing to is git remote minus v. So this shows you for fetch and for push which are the repositories that you're connecting to. Now this is your origin. What I could potentially do is I can create another one with the alias origin2 and point it to origin apple. So here's where I'm going to do that, right? So git remote. Oh, and before we get there, you can always do help. Git has a very good support for this. So when you do help, it'll open up a browser with details of what to do. So if you see here, you could do remote minus v, which is verbose. You could do remote add, remote rename, remove, set add, set branch, get URL, set URL, so on and so forth. So what we want to do now is we want to do git remote add. And we already have origin. So what I will do is I will call it as origin2 and copy this same thing, paste it here, and instead of apple, call it as orange. Now if I say get remote minus v, you would see 4 entries there. One is for the origin and the other one is for origin 2. Awesome. How does this really help us? What does it give us? Now say for example you have a workflow. Git, by the way, has several workflows, right? Here's one of the workflows that I'm showing you. Let's assume for a moment you have a repository over here. You have a repository over here and you clone that repository on your system. You do not want to pollute this repository. Or let's say this way, you have another one which is a golden repository. You do not want to pollute it. These are exact replicas. Okay, you do not want to. So you want to keep this as golden copy. You want to work out of here, and only once you know everything looks great is when you want to push over here. Push over here. That's exactly what we're seeing here, right? So origin orange is our golden repository. So we are working out of origin apple. I'm going to look at logs. Everything looks great. I'm going to do one more commit. So let me say echo hello to. Awesome. I'll do a git add. Git commit minus m. And then git push. So this has gone to origin apple. Now I'm happy with everything that I've done. I want to push these changes to origin orange. How do I do that? So I can do a git push origin 2. Remember, origin 2 is pointing to origin orange. And then the branch is master. Boom. This change is gone to origin orange. So if you look here, it has both of this. Now if I go to origin orange, you should see here too. Cool. This gives you a lot of fundamental knowledge of how remote or origin and your local works, how you can commit your changes into multiple repositories. Next, we will look at branches in the upcoming video. But before we get there, make sure you understand what we've done in this. Make sure you look at the Git Remote help and what are the different options do you have. Before we wrap up, another thing that we can look at is if we say Git Remote, I'm going to get rid of this remotes and go back to my local repository. So if I say git remote minus v, If I wanted to set origin to something else, or say for example, I want to remove origin to from here, how do I do that? Git remote remove origin to. Now if I say git remote -v, I don't have it. What if I want to change where my origin points to? Let's see if I remember the command. So git remote set URL origin, and I want to point it to origin orange, not to origin apple. Now if I say git remote -v, it's pointing to origin orange. So that means every time I do a git push, it will automatically push to origin orange. I hope you enjoyed this, and this has given you a lot of fundamental knowledge on how to move forward with Git.